Can Paul conquer the Johto region? That's what we're here to find out today. My name is Brandon, and this is my attempt to beat Pokemon SoulSilver using only Paul's Pokemon. I have two objectives. One, collect every one of Paul's Pokemon that is in some way legally, legitimately available in SoulSilver. And two, beat the game all the way up to and including Trainer Red. So let's see how that goes. I'm also trying some new things in this video, including a new layout. So as you see those new things, let me know in the comments down below how you like them. And stay tuned until the end of the video so you can vote on what my next video will be. And with that, let's get to the challenge. Arriving in Johto, we meet Professors Oak and Elm. These guys ain't got nothing on Professor Rowan. I bet Rowan in his youth absolutely pulled. Anyway, Elm is talking about my feelings. The only thing I feel is power. And why do you have my Turtwig? Give him back. His name is Mythical after the popular Good Mythical Morning YouTube channel. All of my Pokemon in this video are named after YouTube channels that I actively follow and watch regularly. So feel free to let me know in the comments down below what channels you watch outside of Pokemon YouTubers. I still don't have my Pokedex, so I guess I have to do what he says. I go to meet this Mr. Pokemon dude, and who do I find? Professor Oak. Dude, where's my Pokedex and where are my Pokemon? You think I'm helping Elm? Oh, Distortion World, no. You think I will love and care for my Pokemon? Well, I will love the feeling of victory that they give me, and I will take care to teach them the strongest moves they can learn. Heading back to confront the other old guy, we run into this redhead, who immediately calls us a wimp. I will destroy you. And Mythical does just that with a few strong tackles, including what genuinely might be his 12th critical hit of the run already. It was crazy. The redhead here then claims he's going to be the strongest trainer in the world. Not if I'm around. Or literally anybody, you good-for-nothing wimp. In fact, I never even caught his name, so when asked who he is by the police, I just call him Wimp. This might be obstruction of justice, but who cares? Gotta wreck that scrub. Time to head toward Violet City for our first gym battle. This requires a lot of walking, which is perfect for finding our next Pokemon. You probably know about the Pokewalker add-on that came with Heart Gold and SoulSilver. I'm going to be giving that fancy little pedometer more work than ever. With 500 steps in one of the default areas, I can find myself a Nidoran male. I did use PK Hex to nickname him Mr. Boss after tech YouTuber Mr. Who's the Boss. He has the Rivalry ability, which is mid, but I love using either of the Nidoran lines. After gathering some orange berries from Wild Centret, I challenged Falkter in the gym, where I realized that somebody turned up the Outer Glow effect. But he's using his dad's flying Pokemon, and I also won't stand for that kind of nepotism. So Mr. Boss shows him who's the boss, pummeling both of his inherited birds into the ground. He didn't stand a chance. Leaving the gym, Elm calls me to pick up a Pokemon egg. But I won't be doing that because childcare is for losers and wimps. Wait. Instead, I retrieve the HM for Rock Smash from a random dude. Using that, I break rocks to find a bunch of shards, which I trade to an eccentric old man for berries. I'll do this for a while to stock up for the rest of my journey. On the next leg of that journey, our team grows. Mr. Boss evolves into Nidorino, and we walk around to find Nerd the Magby on a rugged road. He's named after the channel Nerd Explains. Arriving in Azalea Town, we find an old man who fell down a well. And also Team Rocket is here, but they're weaklings. Their executive is literally beaten by a baby. Cutting to the battle with Bugsy, unfortunately, he's too strong for the baby to handle. But Nerd does manage to burn his Scyther. Then Mr. Boss comes in and does what he does best. Despite Rivalry reducing his attack and focus energy never critting, he still shows them who's the boss. It's especially easy once Scyther falls, because Metapod and Kakuna can't do anything. What a pitiful team. Speaking of pitiful, we run into Wimp again, and Nerd has to earn his place on this team, so I send him out. Luckily, Wimp is too weak to handle even a baby. Nerd solos his team, taking 0 damage from both Ghastly and Zubat. This guy is a failure of a trainer. I move on and have another random stranger teach a move to one of my Pokemon. This time, Mythical gets Headbutt, which I use to find and catch a Pineco for later. Time for more team upgrades. Through the Pokewalker, I find Jacqueline the Elekid. They're named after commenter Jacqueline, who asked me to name Chimchar after their boyfriend. Then they edited the comment to request Elekid. So 1, thank you for commenting, and 2, stay tuned to find out how I use Robert's name. It's pretty cool, in my opinion. Mythical then evolves into Grotle. We also see a Nidoran male in the wild. I briefly consider catching him to replace Mr. Boss, but so far, he's been the MVP, so I'll keep him. For now. I then find a Stantler. I catch her and name her Dr. Mike. But this is a weak Pokemon, so I release her immediately. I guess it's time to fight the gym. We challenge Whitney, this time with Mythical leading the charge. After setting up a bunch of curses, he takes down both of our Pokemon with ruthless barrages of razor-sharp leaves. Perfect. Way to prove your strength. Heading toward Ecruteak, we find our way blocked by a strange tree. A random girl suggests we visit a flower shop so we can get a watering can for it. I don't have time for that, so I command Mythical to dispatch the tree with another flurry of leaf shuriken. Let's move on. Good news though. The walk to Ecruteak gives me time to find CZ the Murkrow on the Pokewalker. So let's add her to the team just in time for the Ghost Gym. But speaking of ghosts, Baby Nerd faints again while battling random trainers. You're toeing the line, nerd. Get your act together before I put you in timeout forever. We explore the Burn Tower and find a few dope legendary Pokemon. I need to add them to my team. Wait, why is Wimp here? Nerd, you know what to do. That's not what I meant! With that Luther dispatched, we head to the basement to catch one of these legendaries. Or not. Whatever. I remember that I caught Custodio the Marill and challenged Morty, but he's a total pushover. CZ is able to outspeed and assure the re-death of Ghastly and both Haunter. Then, a perfectly timed crit takes down Gengar after CZ tanks a Shadow Ball. But this was technically my second attempt. I forgot to record the first attempt, during which a crit Shadow Ball took down CZ and ruined my whole plan. So I'll add that KO to the count, even though it was another timeline. Unfortunately, I forgot to make sure that OBS was recording gameplay properly for the next little bit, so we're going to be missing actual gameplay footage, but don't worry, I got you. In the current timeline, I head to the Pokeathlon Dome to retrieve some useful items. More on that later. I then make my way towards Cyanwood City, meeting a man named Balba along the way. He apparently ran the Safari Zone in Kanto before moving to Johto and opening a new park. We trade numbers, so I know when he opens the park. Along the way, Jacqueline and Nerd both hit puberty and evolve into Electabuzz and Magmar. This is a huge power boost. I then clear out the Cyanwood City Gym, but CZ falls to a Hitmonchan, so I'll add that KO to the count. CZ makes up for it immediately though. She brutally destroys Chuck's Primeape with a critical hit on Pluck. Then she blasts a giant toad with Arcane Energy before finishing him off with another powerful Pluck. To be fair, I forgot about using Pluck to eat Poliwrath's Citrus Berry, but it's fine. It's just ironic because CZ's World makes videos about things you missed, and that berry was something that I missed. And also the whole reason that I taught Pluck to CZ in the first place. But I won, let's move on. Normally I might say something about the nonsense level caps for Jasmine and Pryce, but I'm just going to challenge Jasmine right now because I have Nerd. He quickly melts her steel Pokemon down, only taking damage from 2 rounds of Sandstorm. Time for something new before we take on the rest of the gym leaders here in Johto. Remember to stay tuned to see how that goes and to vote for the next video on my channel. I'll see you in just a moment. And we're back, just in time for Balba to open his Safari Zone. We head on over there immediately. Along the way, Nerd and Jacqueline take down a duo who also use a Magmar and Electabuzz, establishing their dominance over the species forever. Mythical also evolves into Torterra. We finally reach the Safari Zone where Balba offers us to put us through the owner aptitude test. We have to catch a Geodude, so we do that immediately and pass the test. But there's a surprise second test that isn't ready yet, so we'll come back to that later. Off screen, Mr. Boss falls to an NPC's Kangaskhan while training. And this is why Rivalry is one of the worst abilities ever. Cutting to the Lake of Rage, I catch a Magikarp and name him Mr. Beast. I'll add him to the team momentarily, but first I have to put down an Abomination. I feel better now. I trade my trophy from that creature to Mr. Pokemon for an experience share, which I give to Mr. Beast for now. That allows him to gain enough experience to evolve into Gyarados, a literal beast. Now we have a team full of powerhouses. With this new team, we storm Team Rocket's hideout alongside Lance the Dragon Master. This requires us to take down 2 of the team's executives. First is Petrol. Mythical easily handles his team with a series of cuts and flurries of leaves. Easy peasy. Second is Ariana in a tag battle with a Grunt and Lance. But between tearing the ground apart with Earthquake and overloading everything with Thunder, we absolutely destroy both of their teams. We're like a walking cataclysm. Surely this is the last we'll see of these losers. In the meantime, let's take on Pryce. Jacqueline makes quick work of Seal, then Nerd defrosts Piloswine with a quick flamethrower. Dugong is a bit tankier, but that's nothing that Jacqueline can't handle. Another easy W. Leaving the gym, Elm calls me and tells me that Team Rocket is up to some nonsense. They've taken over the Goldenrod radio tower to get their former leader's attention, but they've only succeeded in drawing my ire. I'm gonna take these wimps down, once and for all. I guess unfortunately, there isn't really much to show here at the radio tower. We fight each of the executives again in addition to Wimp. So I'm gonna skip the first 3 executives since we've already fought them, but I'll show you the other 2 battles. Oh, and Balba calls in the middle of this siege to let me know that part 2 of the owner aptitude test is ready. I have to resist the urge to abandon this mission and fly to the Safari Zone, but I will go ASAP. In the meantime, it's time to murder the Wimp, and Nerd is the Mon for the job. A crit takes down Golbat with 1 shot, then Magnemite and Haunter both fall to super effective attacks. Quilava manages to sling some ninja stars at Nerd, but he scores another crit to make him faint. Last is Sneasel, who falls to Flamethrower. Wimp then starts wondering if love and compassion are what he's lacking. Nah dude, you just suck. We climb the elevator to some kind of observation deck, where we challenge Archer to finish off Team Rocket for good. CZ fights a dog. She struggles more than she probably should, but finally manages to peck it to death. Jacqueline tags in against a coughing, but he takes a critical hit and gets poisoned on entry. He also struggles a bit more than he probably should, falling to 10 HP as Houndoom comes in. And this dog starts tearing through my team. A crit Fire Fang takes down Mythical before he can do any damage. I then foolishly send out Nerd, who can't do anything. I try to pivot through CZ, but another crit takes her down too. Mr. Beast deals a ton of damage with Dragon Rage and Twister, but eventually falls as well. In hindsight, I should have just used Dragon Rage 3 times. But then, the OG, the MVP, Mr. Boss, comes out and defeats the Hellhound with Rock Smash, finishing Team Rocket for good. That was brutal. Maybe I should have leveled up my Pokemon to match his team, but I didn't realize that Houndoom was so much stronger until it murdered everyone. But there is some good news. I now have a new Pokemon. You see, in Japan, there were birthday events in 2009 and 2010 that gifted a Chimchar to players of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So here is Robert the Birthday Chimchar. I likely won't use him because I technically can't evolve him to stay true to Paul's team, but he's here and he's named after Jacqueline's boyfriend like you requested. With that, we arrive in Blackthorn City for the final gym. But before that, we head south to Route 45 and catch a Teddy Ursa named Alex Myers. I'm super excited to use this little teddy bear because I've never used an Ursaring, as far as I can remember. And this is perfect because Alex evolves immediately, just in time for the gym. But before that, we detour back to the Safari Zone for the second owner aptitude test. This time, we have to catch a Sandshrew by using the area customizer to make the desert area available. So we do that and become the owner, but we still have to pay admission. Oh well, we won't need this until later anyway. Clair leads with Gyarados. This is normally a buy, but I've chosen to lead with Mr. Boss. His only job is to set up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes. A flinch from Bite endangers that plan, but his Held Citrus Berry salvages it. His job done, he tags out for Jacqueline, who obliterates the faux dragon with Thunder Punch. Dragonair number 1 comes out, so I send out my own Blue Serpent. Mr. Beast then proceeds to devour both of Claire's Dragonair, Ouroboros style. I imagine that would be kind of terrifying to watch. Last is Kingdra. She manages to drown Mr. Boss, which allows a safe switch to Mythical. He sets up a Leech Seed on top of the Toxic Poison, allowing me to take down the Seahorse with a couple of Earthquakes. Get good, Clair. We head to the Dragon's Den to retrieve our badge. During the trip, a crit waterfall from a random Seadra knocks out Mr. Boss. Great. We then find the Dragon Master Sage Dude deeper in the cave who quizzes us about Pokemon. We tell him that we value strength and knowledge, not that lovey-dovey nonsense. I'm insistent, so he finally relents and gives us the badge. Now, we have a boss gauntlet. First, we face the Kimono Girls. Mythical outtanks Umbreon thanks to Leech Seed and Synthesis. But then he falls to a crit Psychic from Espeon, so CZ has to finish that battle. Mr. Beast immediately drowns Flareon before tagging out to Mr. Boss against Jolteon. This was just to get a safe switch to Alex Myers, who quickly bisects the dog thanks to his Guts boost. Last is Vaporeon, who falls to a relentless barrage of Dragon Rage. Our next destination is the Whirl Islands. After wandering lost for an embarrassing amount of time, I find the Kimono Girls, who summon the Guardian of the Seas. Rather than defeat the beast, I toss my new Master Ball to catch them. Paul never actually owned any legendary Pokemon, which is kind of surprising, but he does love strong Pokemon. So what legendary do you think he would have if he had one? While you answer that in the comments, I'm going to head to Kanto, where most of the remaining bosses reside. First is another battle with Whim, but I'm going to skip this in favor of showing the final optional battle in the post-game. Here's the team for the Pokemon League. Let me know what you think of this graphic in the comments. I realized about this point that not showing the bottom screen anywhere on my layout meant I couldn't show you a Pokemon's moveset. But it also meant I got to make this graphic, which I really enjoyed making. Anyway, this team was a pretty hard choice because I wanted so badly to use Alex Myers, but his type and his moveset just don't match up very well against anything. Anyway, I've leveled up to be near Lance's levels so I don't overlevel, so let's get after it. As usual, we're just going to start with highlights of the Elite Four. Will isn't much difficulty thanks to CZ and Nerd, but Nerd does fall to his second Xatu. Koga isn't worth showing, and Mr. Beast sweeps Bruno's entire team after setting up with Dragon Dance. Karen is a bit of a struggle, but strategic pivoting keeps everyone conscious. And now, we can face Lance the Dragon Master for the title of champion. This could be a tough battle, but not for this absolutely stacked team. I lead with Nerd to set up the sun and burn Gyarados, which works perfectly. I intended for him to faint here for a safe switch, but I don't want to waste another turn of sunlight. I send out Mr. Beast in his stead and start setting up with Dragon Dance. After Lance heals Gyarados and the burn, I start the slaughter. With only 4 dances, he manages to take down 5 of Lance's Pokemon with a single super effective hit, proving why Mr. Beast and Gyarados are among the best YouTubers and Pokemon respectively. With that, we have easily entered the Hall of Fame and can continue toward even greater heights. While you vote for the next challenge, I'm moving on to the post game. As the champion, my first order of business is incredibly important. I meet Professor Oak at the port in Olivine City, where he upgrades my Pokedex to National Mode. Alba also coincidentally calls about an upgrade to the Safari Zone called Object Arrangement. These events kick off a spree of catches and evolutions. In Union Cave, the Sinnoh Sound station on the radio allows me to find a Makuhita. I catch her and name her D20 after Dimension 20. We also walk a marathon to find Pasmina the Snowrunt, Nelson the Sneasel, and Undone the Shellos through Pokewalker. The first 2 were named by commenters, and Undone is from camera YouTuber Gerald Undone. We then get several evolutions. Nelson into Weavile, Pashmina into Frostlass, and CZ into Honchkrow. I'm adding Frostlass to the team instead of Mr. Boss, who deserves a retirement. With that, I board the SS Aqua to head back to Kanto until more Pokemon are available. The gyms here are pretty easy, so I won't cover many of them. Along the way, a random biker manages to knock out both Undone and Pashmina while I'm training them, so let's add them to the KO count as well. Undone then evolves into Gastrodon, and D20 evolves into Hariyama, so now my dex is maxed out for now. Now, let's cover some plot. Somebody stole a part from the power plant, so I track the criminal to the Cerulean Gym, where I find the part hidden among some inner tubes. I return the part to the power plant, solving the nationwide energy crisis. All in a day's work for a 10-year-old. Continuing the gym challenge, Misty manages to take down Undone. Very disrespectful for a water type master. Anyway, in Pewter City, we headbutt a tree and knock out a Starly. I catch her immediately and name her OX for Outside Xbox, Outside Extra, and Oxventure. With half our Kanto badges in hand, I think it's time to challenge our rival for the final time. Sneasel falls to a stone edge after weakening Undone. Golbat gets 2 flinches and takes an Ice Beam, forcing me to switch. Jacqueline cleans up that mess before Typhlosion incinerates both him and CZ. He nearly does the same to Nerd, but they manage to take down the Porcupine. Alakazam then finishes the job, evening the score. But I bring out Mythical, who crits through Reflect for the one-shot. Gengar takes itself out with Curse, and Magneton falls easily to Earthquake. Honestly, subpar performance for most of my team. They need more training. Or maybe I'll just replace them. I take a break until Thursday, when I can enter the bug catching contest. You see, once you get the national decks, you can find some new bug Pokemon here from Hoenn and Sinnoh on Thursdays and Saturdays. I managed to find an Incada, whom I capture and nickname Jaylene after the commenter who recommended the Nelson nickname. As an added bonus, I win the contest because I didn't injure Nincada. Dang it! I then give Jaylene a piece of candy so he can evolve into Ninjask, adding 2 more to the dex counter. Next, we go back to the Safari Zone where we can find 3 new Pokemon. Crit Roll the Aeron, Dead Meat the Gibble, and Cinema the Scorpy. They're named after the Critical Role, Dead Meat, and Cinema Therapy YouTube channels. So that's all but 1 encounter. To find the next one, we have to do some plot. We find the copycat girl in Saffron City who is missing her Clefairy doll. We retrieve it from a dude in Vermilion City, after which we meet champion Steven Stone. Returning the doll gets us a ticket for the Magnet Train. Now we have to beat Red before we continue this plotline, but that requires a bit more preparation and a few more gym badges. Dead Meat fully evolves into Garchomp, then Pashmina, Nerd, and CZ all fall against Janine. I finish up the Kanto gyms by barbecuing Blue's Pidgeot, though I lost both Crit Roll and Jacqueline in the battle. I really should have been more careful with these gym battles here in Kanto. I was just rushing into them without any thought about levels or team composition, and it really bit me in the booty. Anyway, with Blue's team barbecued, it's time to finish up some evolutions. I find a Magmarizer on Cinnabar Island and use that to evolve Nerd into Magmortar. Then I delve into Cerulean Cave for an Electrizer to evolve Jacqueline to Electivire. After that, Crit Roll and Cinema evolve into Aggron and Drapion, finishing the Pokédex for now. Here's the final team going in to challenge Red. I chose Paul's team from his full battle with Ash in the Sinnoh League Conference. I chose their moveset that he used, so some of them have weird moves and really weak moves, but that's fine. That's just an added challenge. I also matched their levels to Red's levels instead of making them all level 88, because I thought that added a bit more challenge. So with that, let's jump right in. Starting off, Jalen faces off against Pikachu. Just kidding, it's a strategic move to absorb Volt Tackle with Motor Drive. This allows Jacqueline to do what he does best, take down Ash's Pikachu. Snorlax is next, but he can't do much to Crit Roll. A couple of double edges take down the bulky Pokemon, bringing in Blastoise. A strategic pivot through Pashmina lets me bring in Jacqueline again to fry the Tortoise without taking much damage. Red then chooses Venusaur, so I bring back Crit Roll. But he gets put to sleep and drained of all his energy, so Pashmina comes out to play. Her ability lets her dodge a Sleep Powder. She then wastes one of Red's full restores before freezing Venusaur to decorate her home. Look it up, it's what she does. Charizard is next, which is a job for Undone. Muddy Water just barely misses the KO, but Hail does enough damage to make up for it. Last is Lapras. I let Cinema fall so I can bring out Jacqueline without having to deal with a 100% DQ special. Jacqueline then finishes Lapras with so much power that she momentarily breaks the game and ruins my perfect layout. I genuinely have no idea what happened to there. And with that, our journey is done. We have successfully beaten Pokemon SoulSilver, including Trainer Red, using only Paul's Pokemon. This would normally be the end, but we actually have a few loose ends to tie up. First, I visit Silphco to find Steven Stone. He offers to give us a Pokemon based on a random caller choice that we make. After making room in my party, he gives us a Torchic. He leaves, so I have to follow him to the Pewter City Museum. Strangely, he doesn't actually interact with you, but this is the next step in this fetch quest. Remember that Pineco that we caught some time ago after beating Bugsy? Well, now it's time for them to fulfill their civic duty. Returning to Silphco, Steven offers to trade us a Beldum in exchange for a fortress. We accept, and then grind it up to evolve it into Metagross, finishing up the Pokédex and the run. This video was so much fun to make, but it took way longer than I intended. I ended up being gone like 3 weeks in July. It's now July 27th. So I was gone 3 weeks, and then just having 2 10-month-old babies and a wife to spend time with, I just couldn't get this done nearly as quickly as I wanted. So I'm so sorry for that, but I hope you enjoyed it because I absolutely loved it. I was so surprised at how many of Paul's Pokemon were legitimately available in Heart Gold and SoulSilver. I'm trying to get videos out every single month, but at this point, videos are just gonna get done when they get done. I don't wanna rush a video and make it lower quality, I don't wanna burn myself out, and I don't wanna miss out on time with my family. I'm sorry, but that's just the way things have to be. The more you guys like and comment and watch my videos and make sure you're subscribed, the sooner I can go full time with this and maybe get videos out every week or two. So make sure you're subscribed, and if you wanna go the extra mile, you can like, and if you wanna go even beyond that, you could become a channel member. Link to that is in the description and down below. But channel members will get some new perks. I'll release videos a little bit sooner. I'll do polls for the members only to choose what challenges are voted for in the main video, so y'all get first pick of what videos I'm doing next. So speaking of that, don't forget to vote for that in the comments down below. Tell me which of these 3 challenges you want to see, and even suggest some nicknames. It can be an individual nickname for a certain Pokemon, or it could be a naming mechanic like brands of soda or something, or United States. But if you like what you see, don't forget to check out this other video here if you haven't already. And thank you so much for all of your support. I love you and appreciate you all so much. If you have any business inquiries or make fan art and want to send it to me, my email is on screen and in the description down below, berrynerdcorner@gmail.com. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Later, nerds.